Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines. Bretton Woods III envisions a new monetary order and potential revaluation of what? Somebody roll that beautiful intro so we can find out.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.38 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 0.8% in the last 24, 61,100 plus for Bitcoin, 3,300 plus for Ethereum. Tether market cap 112.9 billion plus, USDC 32.8 billion plus. Remember, at one point, Brad Garlinghouse said that they were responsible for 20%. I think it was a daily payment flows or daily volume or market cap. I can't remember which. But respectable number. I can't wait to see what the real USD does when it comes out. And it should be very soon. Another 5 days, we're going to see the EU MiCA regulations. Will we see a surprise launch of the Ripple stablecoin when the MiCA regulations go into effect in the EU? I don't know, but it's a window to watch. 47 cents right now on CoinGecko. My gracious, we're going the wrong way, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, I'm going to have to go get my pennies and start putting that into XRP too. I'm going to roll pennies. We're off 0.9% on the 24. We're off 3.5 on the 7-day at 47 cents. The range of price for it right now between 47 and 49 cents. I may have to get a little more. I don't really have it to do, but I may have to put a little something on it. I can't keep seeing it like this and not do something, even if it's small. Just the discipline in me as an investor says, I got to do it. Not financial advice. This is not financial advice, but I tell you this, you're going to want to check it out. I can tell you that because it's linked to. It is the best home for private equity in the world. It is no joke that 886,000 plus registered users already know this, and you do too. You just haven't done it yet. And that's really what's going on here. I had so many people at XRP Las Vegas say, man, I keep hearing talk about Link 2. I keep meaning to go sign up and register. What are you waiting for? My goodness, you know that we're going into IPO season. That's exactly right. I wish I could do a great Elmer Fudd because I'd impersonate. It's not hunting rabbits, but, hunting private equity. And you could do that. The best place to do that is right here at Link 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, the most affordable minimums in the private equity space. Now, I really can't put enough emphasis on that because so many other platforms and companies, it's out of reach. You just can't do it. But that's exactly what Link 2 is all about. They're about democratizing finance, and they're doing that as much as they can with the limits of the law. And they give you the best opportunities to the most incredible companies available in every emerging sector possible. Make sure you click the link below and check out my sponsor today. It doesn't last long either. It'll be gone soon. And then don't tell me I told you about it. Now we got to deal with this. This is Ryan Selkis right here from Masari, who has woken up to the corruption inside the SEC. I have to remind everybody, it's not maxi talk, that Ryan's clarity, the climb to righteous mountain, did not exist in a very short period not that long ago. Because he thought it was only happening to Ripple and XRP, and he was fine with that. Weren't you, Ryan? Yeah. But for whatever reason, Ryan has seen the truth. The light has found him. He's making the journey to the mountaintop. And now he is with us fighting every day. And I'm glad that he is. Because I tell you, he is a hell of an adversary, but he's a great asset when he's on your side. And he's finally on our side. So let's get started with this.
Cleverness on behalf of the crypto industry is you guys have found one in the executive branch as well, Gary Gensler. Who is Gary Gensler and why is he Satan?
Well, first of all, we found him. Ryan thought he was great until he figured out his ass was sitting in the same boat that Ripple and XRP holders were. Continue.
How much tape do you have?
Plenty.
I have on my desk a 200-page Oppo research pack. Literally 200-page Oppo research pack on Chair Gensler, and it's a year old, so you could probably add another 200 pages just based on his behavior in the last year. Everything that the SEC has done under his guidance with respect to the crypto industry has been in bad faith challenged in the courts and successfully overturned. Just doublespeak, out of control, side door rulemaking, anything that they can do to possibly cripple the growth and trajectory of the industry and essentially punish anyone that dissents. They've gone after Kraken, they've gone after Coinbase, they've gone after every single one of the biggest players in the industry. The only one that they didn't go after, of course, was FTX. They missed that one. Oops.
Yeah, which was the second largest Democrat donor. That's why they missed him. I'm betting there. Look, it's great to have Ryan on our side. And I'll tell you, if you don't know this, that moment at Mainnet conference that he puts on with Masari, he let Brad Garlinghouse dunk him in a dunking booth. You remember that? That was a physical form of capitulation, of bowing down publicly and saying, I was wrong. That's what that was. Even if Ryan doesn't admit it, because he's a pretty arrogant guy, and that's okay too. But the reality is that's exactly what it was. I'll tell you what, Ryan might be able to come out here and wave the Patriot flag and do all that shit. None of this was inside of this man when he thought it was happening to someone else. Write that down. Write that down. Now we see Biden administration here about to pivot on crypto. Shout out to Carol House. I had the pleasure of meeting her at Blockchain Summit, DC Blockchain Summit. Shout out to the Digital Chamber for putting that on. It was amazing. She said she's honored to have been called to return to service of the absolutely critical mission sets that are necessary to shape the future of secure, trustworthy digital economies. How about that one? And I want to show you just how important it is, because you see, that's Carol House sitting right there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right on the same side of the table that we're seeing the head of public policy and government at Ripple, Lauren Bleave. And then we have Nellie Liang sitting right into the middle of them, the Undersecretary to Domestic Finance for the United States Treasury. How about that? Stellar's there as well, and many others that are important are sitting at this table. It's pretty remarkable where things are. So understanding that we may be seeing a very quick shift in the current administration trying to adjust to the President Trump campaign, which has adopted crypto. But what will they both actually honor along with their campaign promises, right? Cypress Demonacor says he's run into trouble here with Uphold. He's showing his funds are in review. He has sent 7,639 XRP to his account, and it's being reviewed for deposit. Now, listen, I get where his frustration is here, and I totally understand it. And this is not a slight to him. I offer this because this is exactly where we're going, right? Decentralization is a trend word. It's a buzzword like .com was back in the day. What we're moving towards, like with MiCA regulations that are kicking in 5 days, and then at the end of December, the rest of those regulations in the EU kick in December 30th, which are a more broad set of regulations, are going to require that you explain where this is coming from, right? That's what's going on here. And that is the world we're moving to. They're going to want to know, where did the 7,639 XRP, where did it come from and how did you attain it? Because they want to know how they can tax it, right? That's what they want to know. And that's what's going on here. And I don't think it's any slight just to Uphold. It's certainly not a slight to Cypress, who we will have on this show soon enough. Looking forward to him being on here at the week review, like so many others. And we're going to get that worked out. But I think this is exactly what we're seeing here, foreshadowing. Now, I'm all for self-custody, and I'm all for insurance. So those are like speaking to traditional TradFi, set up with insurance, and then self-custody being the new innovation that's out here and the power of putting it in all of our hands. I think we should have all choices available. But I also believe that there is going to be a moment that we're going to cross a threshold where no matter you send a certain amount of assets, you're going to have to explain where they came from in that review. I think that's what's coming. And this is more evidence of that as well. Right here, we're going to listen as Rick Edelman explains Franklin Templeton as one of the leaders in crypto development technology. But wait till you see the rise in the ETF advisors that are going to allocate crypto, because again, as I've said, as regulation and legislative clarity comes on, not only are we going to see the institutional liquidity move into this system and take advantage of the utility of these networks, and it's going to change the game. And the space will no longer belong to the retail speculator, because it will be an era of utility and liquidity, and it will no longer be a speculative market. There will still be speculators, but it won't be just a speculative market. And we're all excited about that day. But you know what else? It will also be taken over, because the market won't look the same, because all your financial advisors are allowed to get in the game once we have clarity. Take a listen.
And we have a series of surveys we've done with Franklin Templeton, one of the largest asset managers, who's also one of the leaders in crypto development technology. They were the first to launch, as you know, the first on-chain money market fund. They are doing a huge amount in tokenization. They've got crypto SMAs through Eaglebrook. They're really, really doing a great job. And the surveys we've done have shown really interesting data, Frank. 5 years ago, the vast majority of financial advisors knew nothing about Bitcoin and at the same time hated it. They regarded it as nothing but a fraud, at best a fad. If it wasn't an outright fraud, it was a tulip bulb or a Beanie Baby. The only thing they knew was Mt. Gox and Silk Road, more recently FTX, which all helped to kind of reinforce their views that you need to stay away from this. What they are now shifting toward, however, and this is recent, this is over the past year to 18 months, advisors now recognize that this is here to stay, that it is a big deal, that it is worthy of their evaluation and consideration, and they still, however, don't know much about it. But the trend has turned, and we can thank the development of two things. Number one, the new Bitcoin ETFs that launched in January, and the fact that BlackRock got behind them a year ago. Because BlackRock, being the world's largest money manager with $10 trillion in assets, a huge reputation within the advisory community. And when Larry Fink said it's okay to get in the water, that meant it was okay for advisors around the country. So those two events, which kind of combine into one big one, have changed everything. So today, we've seen in the last 3 months a 70% increase in the number of advisors who say they're going to allocate to crypto within the next year. This is revolutionary. So advisors are now in the mode, Frank, instead of saying it's a fad or a fraud, ignore it. They're now saying, I don't understand it as well as I ought to. I'm not able to answer my clients' questions to the degree they expect me to.
But they're getting in. And that's what this has been about the entire time. About them having control over the market. That's what this is right now. So this is where we are. So let's keep moving, because we have a few more things to look over here. I need help with this one, because I cannot find an official statement other than from the actual site that claims that they did this. Ransomware late yesterday, Lockbit claimed the Federal Reserve Board as a victim. Exfiltrated data was claimed to be 33 terabytes of data. No sample data was provided at the time of the post. No sample data was provided at time of post. Ransom deadline is today. Now, what's interesting about this, again, as I've said, to put this on the 101 reasons to adopt the XRP Ledger to the new financial systems list. XRP Ledger helps solve this. Now, there is no official statement. I've checked, I've looked, and the reader's account says this too. But again, the site, the scam site, Lockbit, says that they've done this, and today's the day. So will we see 33 terabits of juicy baking information released about the Fed and everything that they're doing? I don't know the answer to this, but it is saying here it's not confirmed. So if anybody can help us confirm that, or, confirm, is it trumor or rumor, right? Shout out to Mr. Intuitive. Is it trumor or rumor? That's what we need to know here. So let's see what goes on. And any help you can bring to it, we certainly appreciate. But it reminded me of this.
Fed to be responsible for processing the payments. I mean, suppose, the Fed will likely impose some KYC restrictions on some purchases. They might not process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not Fedwire for all, but kind of like a Fedcoin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but
Maybe even XRP.
and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar. That would eliminate the exchange rate volatility.
And basically saying that you could peg XRP to a denominated dollar that represents the liquidity on the network. A $200 bill, a $50 bill, a $1,000 bill, whatever the denomination needed to be to represent it. You could peg it on par, basically essentially making XRP a wholesale back-end CBDC.
But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol, or possibly even Bitcoin. I mean,
Bitcoin's got a ways to go on that one. That's David Andelfato from years ago. And where is he from? The St. Louis Fed. Still wondering if they got hacked out. But if they did, I think even David Andelfato from the St. Louis Fed knows what the answer should be. That's how you fix it. Now listen to this. Bretton Woods III envisions a new global monetary order centered around commodities such as gold. Say it isn't so, or say it is. Take a listen.
Do you think that we're headed towards some kind of a monetary train wreck, given the fact that governments have so abused the market process?
I don't know how the current financial system is going to survive. So many things are just fictions. Things are being papered over left and right. I have suspected for a few years that central banks will get in front of this problem by mobilizing gold back into the financial system. I don't really expect a gold standard, and I don't advocate a gold standard. I advocate a free market in the monetary metals, because I think that will accomplish the objectives of a gold standard better than the gold standard itself would. But I will not be surprised if we wake up some morning or turn on the nightly news before going to bed some Sunday night and find out that the G8 or the G20 or the IMF or some of those guys have been meeting, if not at the Plaza Hotel in New York, as they did in 1985.
He's referencing the Plaza Accord, which we have covered heavily here, about a currency reevaluation. And that time it was a currency devaluation of the U.S. dollar.
Have come to some new currency arrangement. And perhaps they will announce that central banks will start buying gold at $5,000 an ounce, perhaps in the name of helping the poor countries where gold is mined, or perhaps very candidly in the name of reliquefying central banks themselves, those that still have sufficient gold reserves to reliquefy themselves with. I believe it was Lyle Gramley, a former member of the Fed's Board of Governors. If it wasn't him, it was another former member of the Fed's Board of Governors who was on Business News Network in Canada a year or two ago when he was getting hit with pretty serious criticism of the deterioration of the Fed's balance sheet. It's, taking all this crappy paper to rescue various financial institutions. And Gramley, or the Fed governor, whoever it was, volunteered to the reporter that he was overlooking something, and that what he was overlooking were the 8,000 tons of gold on the books of the United States government, on the books of the Fed, that were being valued only at the antique price of $42.22 an ounce. And that if there was a market revaluation of this gold, Gramley said, the Fed's balance sheet would look immensely better. Well, this was something that was volunteered by a former member of the Fed's Board of Governors. It signifies that maybe the Fed thinks about gold a lot more than we do. Gold revaluations have been used in the past for national reliquefations. Roosevelt did it back in 1933 and 1934. A British economist named Peter Millar a few years ago wrote a paper on how the revaluation of gold has been used throughout history to avert debt deflations and reliquefy the financial system. I'm pretty confident it's going to happen again, and I just want to live so long.
to see it. No doubt. And I do too. And listen, this is why I tell you all so much about go to the top right hand corner of milesfranklin.com and click the sign up and put dig gold in the referral code and ask them for the special price list that you get when you put dig gold in the referral code, because this is what we're talking about. Look, I'm stacking my pennies next to their dollars. That's one of the core creed tenets that I use in investing. And it's not financial advice. I'm just showing you what I do. Central banks are hoarding gold. I'm going to try to do it at my level too. Of course, hoarding is a word that really doesn't fit how I'm trying to get it done, but I'm doing what I can here, ladies and gentlemen. And I know some of you are trying to do the same too. And for the best prices, you can find them right there at Miles Franklin Precious Metals Invest. And they have everything you could ever want. And the best prices if you just put dig gold in the subject or in the referral code. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.